What's up, everyone? Today I'm going to break down this fun, kind of silly, super syncopated thing that I like to do a lot. This is a prime example of a happy accident. I stumbled across this thing accidentally. I don't remember what exactly I was working on, probably something from the syncopation book where I was trying to build grooves out of the rhythms in there. Either way, it started out as triplets with a backbeat on 3, so triplets with a halftime feel. And it was one of these kind of slippery things where I could get into it, but I didn't really know exactly what I was doing. I was able to kind of get it going, and then it would sort of fly off the rails a bit. What I first discovered sounded something like this. Kind of weird, and especially with no click or anything going beneath it, it's quite easy to lose your sense of where the underlying pulse is. And for a real long time, I didn't take a few minutes to analyze what I was doing. I don't know why. Shame on me. But when I did finally sit down and actually work out what I was playing, I was kind of surprised. It boiled down to a 4-stroke pattern. Left, kick, left, right. That's it. But it's the context that really brings it to life. Since I stumbled across this in triplets, I was essentially taking the 4-stroke pattern, left kick, left right, and just phrasing it in triplets. So it would take 3 repetitions of left kick, left right to evenly fill 1 measure of triplets, and I was just accenting beat 3 with my left hand, so it behaved like a backbeat. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a... And what makes this feel so out is the kick is displaced just off of beat 1. So usually when we're playing grooves and stuff, we have a solid downbeat where we play the kick square on beat 1. And if we were to move that kick or not play a kick on beat 1, it kind of feels like the floor gets pulled out from beneath you for a second. So the downbeat is displaced, but the backbeat is not, because that's just our snare square on beat 3. So there's this weird tug of war between the displaced downbeat and the solid backbeat, and that creates tension. So we need to balance this. If we just keep looping that one pattern, your bandmates are going to f***ing hate you because it's super disorienting, you get no resolution, and if you don't have something that sets up that syncopation, there's pretty much no way to feel where the actual beat is. I usually kick into this pattern at the backbeat, using it kind of like a pivot point, but I set it up with a couple beats of a shuffle or something that's a little bit more resolute. Now to get out of this pattern, all you need to do is double the last left-hand stroke, and that will set the right hand back onto the beat. So if I play it as a 2-measure phrase, you'll hear how I start with something that's pretty much a shuffle, and then at beat 3, where I hit that snare, I switch into that weird syncopated pattern, and then I'll have 2 left-hand strokes in beat 4 at the end of the second measure to get things back onto the beat. Containing things to a 2-measure phrase gives you a little bit of time to do that floating thing, but not so much time that you totally lose your sense of where beat 1 is. pattern also works very nicely as 16th notes. Now, to make this work with 16th notes, we're just going to make one small adjustment. I think it sounds really good when the kick happens just before the backbeat instead of just after the backbeat. When the kick is just after the backbeat, I feel like it blunts the impact of that snare crack. So instead of doing left kick, left right, like we were doing with the triplets, we're just going to switch the position of the right hand and the kick. So we'll do left, right, left, kick. We'll also play this one with a halftime feel, so our backbeat is going to be on 3. Play to 16th notes. It sounds like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... However, we run into the same issue that we did with the triplets. If we just keep repeating this pattern on its own without ever touching a downbeat or resolving it in some capacity, you're probably just going to get lost and lose your sense of where the beat actually is. So we'll kick into this pattern at the backbeat, just like we do with the triplets, and we'll set it up with a couple beats of something that's a little more resolute and square. And also, just like the triplets, we can get out of it by doubling the very last left-hand stroke, and then that puts the right hand and the kick back onto the beat. And in general, that's just such a helpful little device, being able to offset accents by doubling up either hand. So for example, if I'm just playing single strokes on the snare drum and accenting every right-hand stroke, it'll start out where all the accents are kind of on the 8th notes, but then if I double the left hand, it pushes all the accents to the 16th upbeats. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... So getting into and getting back out of the 16th note pattern sounds like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Now, my favorite thing about this pattern in both triplets and 16th notes is we could start to create different melodies between the right hand and the kick. So we could orchestrate the right hand around different parts of the kit. We can move to the tom-toms, we can move to the bell of the cymbal, we could use crashes, and we'll still have that backbeat to provide some anchor point for your ear. We could also start to break up the pattern between the right hand and the kick. So we could do something like doubles, right, right, kick, kick, with the left hand still lacing in between each stroke. And if we break up the patterns and do orchestrations, we could get some really, really nice melodic phrases that still groove. And as long as you're always able to get back onto a beat, you could stretch yourself pretty far. And as you get a better internal sense of the beat, you'll be able to take bigger risks with the melodies, and you'll be able to go longer without having to give yourself a downbeat. And then eventually you should be able to rip these phrases in perpetuity. If you like what you saw in this video, check out my Patreon page. Your support grants you access to transcriptions for this video, as well as transcriptions for all my other lesson videos. And follow me on Instagram @drummerhar to see more videos of my playing. As always, thanks for watching and see you next time.